Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2012 Cadillac CTS-V Sedan. Up front is a 6.2 liter supercharged V8, and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here CTS-V for two reasons. First of all, I recently reviewed a first generation CTS-V in a stick shift, and I liked that car, but I felt like it was missing something. Something was not there. And so I'm excited to see if the second gen has changed that. The second reason is because the second gens are supercharged, so it's always fun to be driving a supercharged V8. But before we get on with the rest of the video, if you are interested in helping out the channel, there are some links in the description below for some products that go towards helping the channel. There is a suction cup license plate from Con Plates. There is a fixed OBD2 Bluetooth sensor to help diagnose your car issues, and there is Cash for Cars that helps you sell your vehicle quickly. Again, if you'd like to help out the channel, please click the links in the description below. Let's get on with the video. Let's get back to that 6.2 liter supercharged V8 under the hood. Now from the factory, they made about 550 horsepower. However, I will put a build list up on the screen for this particular CTS-V. It's making a little bit more power than that. However, it is factory supercharged. It's an LSA engine from GM. So we've seen that and driven that in the ZL1 Camaro all those years back when I drove my good friend Kyle's. And there's just no denying it. It's a fantastic engine and fantastic supercharger. The supercharger is 1.9 liters in displacement. It's larger than my rotary engine, which is just the coolest thing in the world. It's also a pushrod engine. There's no overhead cams, which is sort of an older style of engine development. A lot of motors now have overhead cams or dual overhead cams. Usually that's like kind of the more modern thing to do. But no, GM says, don't fix it if it ain't broke. And they definitely did that here in the CTS-V. Oh my God, the whine, the kick. This thing does not come to play. This does not come to play, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what I was looking for out of the original CTS-V, and I didn't get. This has that extra flair. That's what I was missing, was that whining noise, that kick in the chest. The original CTS-V is great, but you know, every once in a while, I want a good slap in the face, and the first gen didn't deliver that, but the second gen does. Oh my God, does it. Oh my God, does it. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic. Now, it was sold in a 6-speed manual as well, but the automatic is faster. And personally, I think manuals are cool. Having a manual CTS-V would be super, super cool. But it's also a Cadillac. It's also comfortable. When I'm not doing pulls, and I'm just cruising right here, it's quiet. It's elegant. And so I like that automatic transmission. I can hop in this and take my girlfriend out to dinner. I can hop in this and just have a nice, comfortable drive. Last but not least, of course, the CTS-V is rear-wheel drive, because if it were anything else, it would be a sin. But now let's talk about the interior. There's some very interesting things I want to talk about in here. Well, in front of me, I have three main gauges. On the left is my tachometer, in the center is my speedometer, and on the right, I have coolant temperature, fuel, and I have boost pressure, which has a little supercharger logo on it, which is awesome. The thing I really like about the tachometer and speedometer, something I haven't seen in other cars, is that there is a light that actually follows the needle. So as you rev it up, there's actually a light line sort of connecting it to the ground. I'll try to get some good footage here. Again, it's always hard to get speedometer footage while driving because, of course, I want to be safe, so I have to figure out a way to mount the camera, and that's not always possible. So I'm showing the tachometer here. Hopefully that footage worked out for you. I really, really like that attention to detail. Now, something I wish I got was like a V logo in the gauge cluster, but not the end of the world. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my cruise control options, and on the right, I have skip track, volume, and phone as well. It does have a little V at the bottom of the steering wheel, and the steering wheel center does look a little bit dated. I would say this looks kind of 2008-y, but that's when this generation of V started, so I can't knock it for that. To the left of me, I have some information buttons for the center gauge screen. And on the door, I have my memory seat options. And down below, I have my power mirrors, power windows, and power locks. Moving into the center, we have a very cool infotainment screen. All right, so let's talk Cadillac infotainment. And the first thing you'll notice is the fact that the infotainment screen is tiny. Just this little guy. However, now it's not so tiny anymore, which is a really, really cool feature. Anytime you turn the car on, it does pop up. Or when you put it into reverse, because we do have a backup camera, it also will automatically pop up. Let's talk about the backup camera since I have it turned on. Not super high quality, but this is 2012. This was before they were federally mandated, so you can't really knock Cadillac. At least it had a backup camera. That was still a very cool, unique, and new feature for 2012. Put it back into park here. We have the Cadillac infotainment system. So here is the settings for the radio. I can switch between a couple different categories, things like that. It is touchscreen as well, so I can touch AM, FM, things like that. It's really cool that it actually has a moving touchscreen. I can also go to like info, get like weather info, speech help, things like that. Navigation, okay, I agree. I can go to my navigation page if I'd like. Blah, 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 nothing really too crazy. I really just wanted to show off the fact that you can put it up and down. I think that's such a cool and unique feature. And when it is down, it still gives you some information. But as you can see, when you pull it up, it like looks weird, adjusts itself. Really, really cool there. One of my favorite features of the CTS-V for sure. Down below that infotainment screen, we do have an analog clock, volume, and tune. I love this analog clock. I think it's a really classy piece of the interior of the CTS-V. And as I was talking with the owner, Steve, you just don't find that in base model cars. Whenever I see an analog clock in a car, I know it's at least somewhat classy, or a 1991 Volvo 240. That's it. That's the only cars that get an analog clock. Classy cars and 90s Volvos. But below that, I have a couple interesting buttons. I do have my navigation screen up and down, so I can manually raise or lower it if I'd like. And I have a suspension button, so I can either put it into Tour or Sport. Now, the CTS-V has magnetic ride suspension. This is the first generation to get magnetic ride suspension from GM. And the car, through all of its sensors and nodules and things like that, survey the road every millisecond to figure out what the best dampening rate would be. Now, this car does not raise and lower with those suspension settings. It's just for the dampening. Down below that, I have a whole cluster of radio buttons. I'm not very happy with these because they are so clustered. There's so many of them. It's hard to even name them, and looking at them kind of gives me anxiety, but this is very average for GM of the era. I drove a 2012 Buick Regal, and it had a very similar setup. Then I have some climate control options, power, fan speed. I do have dual zone climate, but then actual more particular climate controls are ran off these little screens off to the left and right. So the driver gets one and the passenger gets one. And this is where I can adjust my temperature, and this is the only readout for the temperature, which is kind of interesting, pretty down low for that. I do have heated and ventilated seat options down here as well, which is very, very nice. I love that. In the center of those little screens, I do have a little cubby with a 12-volt outlet. And we have the shifter itself. The shifter looks very classy. It looks very Cadillac-esque, which is good. It should. And I overall like the look of it. Cadillac has done these sort of thinner shifters over the last couple of years, or really last over decade. And I like the look of them, and it has the V on top. Then we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the CTS-V, and unfortunately it does fail, which I would have liked to have seen in a luxury car, a little bit bigger cup holders, but not the end of the world. I have a supercharger, so I'm not too worried about it. Then we have a dual opening center console for some storage options. And then we have to talk about the seats. Like I said, they are power, memory, heated, and ventilated, which are all fantastic options here for the CTS-V, but it's a Cadillac. It's, to be expected at this point. However, this is the sedan, thank God, so we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2012 Cadillac CTS-V Sedan. First of all, headroom is okay. I do have this little bubble, so it makes it a little bit better. I'm 5'11". My head's getting towards the roof, but not terrible. My knee room is actually great, not hitting the front seat, and this is adjusted for my driving position. I have a little fold-out ashtray and cigarette lighter down here, as well as I do have a little pull-out here to cup holders, and that's really it. The seats are also finished in leather with this cloth insert, this perforated cloth insert. Feels really sporty and really nice. Let's take a quick look at the trunk, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the Cadillac CTS-V. Hold it there, and it'll pop the trunk. It does not auto-raise the trunk. However, once it is open, pretty decent back trunk area. I don't know why I said back, but trunk area for the CTS-V. It is the same chassis as the CTS, so if you're looking to buy a CTS-V but you have access to a regular CTS, you can figure out the trunk size based off of that. It is a Cadillac, so it has a very big trunk, but not as big as the old 70s Caddies, but hey, that's okay. Now we have to talk about the looks, and I love the look of this CTS-V. I think it looks amazing. I think it definitely looks like a first gen that has hit the gym on its off season. I mean, it really looks fantastic. It's super angular, and I think the sedan is the second best body style. You could get it in a sedan, coupe, or a wagon, which I really want to find a wagon. If anyone has one that they would let me film, please email me. Wagons are just super cool, and you could even find the wagons in manual. But overall, I love the look of the CTS-V. I think it's aggressive enough, but still subtle enough to not be that flashy guy at the party. You can drive this to a country club and be respected, but you could also drive this on the drag strip and be respected. So it's kind of the best of both worlds there. All right, I got a little bit of a straight here. Yeah. Oh, this might be my villain origin story. But now let's get to my final thoughts here on the 2012 Cadillac CTS-V. Well, like I said at the top of the video, I drove the first gen CTS and I thought it was really cool. I liked it, but it was missing something. Well, this is what it was missing. It was missing a supercharger. It was missing a little bit of fun. This car keeps me on my toes. I'm not fully comfortable with the power of this car, and I think that can be good. I respect this car because I know if I flip that traction control off and put my foot into it, I no longer control my own future. The car will decide. I like that about a car. It adds that sort of spontaneity to it. I like that this has fanfare. This is exciting, and it's a perfect second generation. I view the first gen CTS-V as Halo 1, the video game. You gotta respect the classic. You gotta respect the first one. But Halo 2 added online, added a lot more things. You could play as an alien. Halo 2 to me is a better video game. Halo 1 is good for nostalgia, but Halo 2 is a better video game. This is a better car. Oh, this is a way better car. This is a way better car. Oh my God, everything about this is amplified. This is what proper revisions look like. This is what a proper second draft is. This was built with more thought, more input from the community, because they had the first gen as a trial run. Oh, I could go on for days about this car. I think it is absolutely amazing. It's really one of the greatest cars to come out of the 2010s from America. It's a four-door supercharged V8 luxury vehicle, and you don't usually get that many great words in one sentence, but the CTS-V has all of them, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Well, I have to give a huge thank you to Steve for letting me take out his CTS-V. Steve and Heather are awesome. I appreciate him trusting me with this. I've known Steve forever. He's an awesome guy and an RX-7 owner too. So shout out to a fellow RX-7 owner. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.